So, Witcher anime?
Yeah, what's that gonna be like?
Toss a coin to your Witcher, oh Valley of Plenty, oh Valley of Plenty, oh.
Toss a coin to your Witcher, a Valley of Plenty.
Nice. Nice.
Thank you.
You're watching / listening to the Clash KO podcast.
This is the show where we talk about why anime sparks so much passion among its fans.
I'm Colton Cruz.
Brianna Marshall.
Wyatt Garland.
Like what you hear, like what you see. Subscribe to YouTube or your podcast platform of your choice so you don't miss out on a knockout discussion.
So this week we are talking about the Witcher announcement for the Witcher anime.
Yeah.
God, I'm so
Oh,
excited.
yeah. There's gonna be a full anime.
Yeah, it's okay. So the news is it's the Witcher Nightmare of the Wolf
Nightmare of the Wolf.
is gonna be apparently a like movie or OVA. I don't know what anime jargon to not use, right? Because it's a Netflix anime.
Right.
I feel like
so-
it might be like a short series, possibly. If it's Netflix, like we know how Netflix.
You said movie,
I've never
right?
seen. I don't think I've ever seen an anime movie on Netflix, or I mean,
Well, I guess
Netflix
you're
originated
right.
maybe, right? So maybe it
You're
might be like.
right.
And,
Could be an OVA, honestly.
and to be fair to this is the like as much as we pick on Netflix for its original anime, this is probably the closest thing to it actually being like
Yeah, it's just why it's
closer
so worthy.
to an original anime.
This isn't them taking Seven Deadly Sins and then
and
just
calling
like,
it a
putting
Netflix
their
original,
stamp on
or
it
being like,
because-
hey, you know what? Nobody can watch the second season of Fate because we licensed it, or hey, Neon Genesis Evangelion, it's up for the Crunchyroll Awards this year because we just recasted it on Netflix.
You're welcome.
Yeah, and it's the first time being published. Blah blah blah.
But all that said, I mean, and we have our problems with Netflix, but I think all three of us love the Witcher live action series, right? The Henry Cavill series.
My
We were
God.
very pleased with it. At least I was. Like, it had the right sort of energy, and it had this sort of like charm to it that is surprising for Netflix because they got a bigger actor, but they didn't have like some bloated budget. I mean, they had the money to do what they kind of wanted to do, but you could see the
They
corners
do
being
one
cut.
octopus
Yeah.
fight.
Yeah, they're like, yeah, we'll get something in there. Like, but and it had a nice amount of drama to it. There wasn't this sort of like weird tension. But I guess spoilers for those of you who haven't seen the whole
Yes,
show.
there'll be Witcher spoilers lightly
Yeah.
from the show, maybe
Essentially-
some from the video games and stuff, but
Yeah.
just
Spoiler
to meter
warning.
your expectations here.
Essentially, in the series, we get to a point where Geralt has sort of like taken sort of a fatherly position with a young girl who he's going to maybe train. That's
Yeah,
sort of
he
idea.
the end of the season is him finally finding Ciri,
Who
the
is
princess
a-
on the run that he's destined to protect.
Yes.
Right,
This is your destiny.
And then I see a lot of. I haven't ever played the games myself, but I'm very familiar with with visions of the games. Apparently, she's a lot older and is more accomplished.
Yeah, by the Wild Hunt, she's a young adult woman,
Right,
which is
and-
the third Witcher game. Yeah,
And is she trained by Geralt, or just sort of like
yeah.
her
So
own
she
devices?
goes to Witchers are these like swordsman mutants
Right.
that are so basically they're little boys that they take and they do some magic alchemical mutations to, and then they train them to be
super soldiers.
Yeah.
monster slayers. But again, Geralt is the one that kind of like walks that line between, well, maybe the environment's right and we should leave like griffins to their own devices because they're a natural part of like blah 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 blah. But what they end up doing in the game is he takes Cirilla to be trained as a Witcher, but she never undergoes the like mutation ceremony.
Okay,
so she's got all of the like fighting training, but not the alchemical
Not the
like
dead emotions.
She's not a mutant.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
She doesn't get the pumped up libido that all the other Witchers have.
Gross. That's good. That's good to hear. Yeah. So we wanted to talk a little bit about that because we were wondering what the setup might be for this sort of like anime
Nightmare
movie,
of
or
the
this-
Wolf, yeah.
Yeah. This sort of middle portion here because apparently it's going to be a bridge between the first and the second season.
That's what we're hearing, right? Is they're gonna put it in between, like it'll come out before the second season and be some kind of a bridge, or at least in the same universe, or at least provide some kind of context or lead up to season 2. quick note here, like I think the really interesting here is obviously we know Netflix was all more people watch The Witcher than they watch The Mandalorian. We're the real streaming company. Sweat, right?
Right.
So I see why they like really want to pump up The Witcher because again, it's their like it's one of their first shots in a long time that they're like, whoa, we became a cultural phenomenon again.
Yeah.
Like really realistically again.
Right.
I mean, they had House of Cards, but they had so many problems happening with that.
Stranger Things.
But it's
And they
Stranger
got
Things,
Stranger
true.
Things, but that's a different audience.
It
Right?
is,
That's not-
it
I
is,
mean,
yeah.
I'm just waiting for Stranger Things to come to anime. I'm just
You're
saying.
true.
But
No.
that's a different podcast.
Well,
Good
that's,
point.
well,
It's-
that can
And
be.
it has undertone. Yeah,
Well,
Yeah.
we want to talk about the potential this sets up for things like that because Netflix is such a beast now that it's like, yo, this was good. We'll do an anime movie of this.
Yeah.
We'll do a
Exactly.
live action
And-
version. We'll do a CGI. Like they have options, and this is them flexing one of those options, which is really cool. And they picked apparently a couple people who worked on Legend of Korra for
Yeah,
a
Yeah.
Which is good, and I think they're looking at Disney. We know they're looking at Disney a lot too, and I hope they're doing that thing where they're like, okay, Star Wars, let's say Witcher being like a bigger property, and they see like the animated Clone Wars series for Star Wars and how successful that has been, and they're like,
Yep.
wait a minute, we can do animation, get diehard fans like on board.
Yep.
So like it's obviously like a revenue that can grow, and Netflix already makes enough or puts enough anime on its platform to know it has an anime audience.
Yeah.
Right. People do go there, and they do show like the old stuff. Or I mean, I think JoJo just went on there.
That's
with
why
that.
JoJo's,
why they quadruple paid for Evangelion. Like
Exactly.
God, that property getting its last paycheck for a
Oh
while.
my
It's
God.
like, please, more money.
But yeah, it's obviously something they're looking to support like its fans with, and I think it lends itself well to animation. I mean, I think part of the reason everybody kind of fell in love with The Witcher in this post Game of Thrones world is it's not the same quality at all, but all of us are just kind of like, but it scratches that like medieval fantasy itch that like we all just kind of have, and we don't really have that high of expectations for.
Right, especially because we know how
Yeah.
like little we know. I think that's a whole different podcast about Game of Thrones, right? But it's the expectation that it built and the result that it carried. I think the cool thing about Witcher is that it started, like I said, with this charm that you're like, oh yeah, it's gonna be kind of like okay, and you're like, all right, I'm not going in expecting some like thing that I want like enshrined in heaven, you know.
Right.
There's not this super high expectation for it, which allows it to be relaxed and fun and have a lot of humor from it.
And I think that's the other strength it has a source material that is very close in trajectory from where manga comes from to become anime, right?
Yeah.
Like it's a Polish fantasy book series. So it's not English fantasy where we're going to see like, you know, the Arthurian legends and stuff. It's like, it's a little bit weird fantasy, something like our Western audiences in America and, you know, mainstream Western audiences aren't super familiar with.
Different flavor.
So like it's a different flavor of fantasy, and then it comes from a book series that's also been a like phenomenon game series,
Yeah.
and then it's becoming a Netflix series, and then it's becoming an animated series. Like that trajectory means there's a lot of creative juices that
Yeah.
get to seep and stew in.
It just shows that Netflix is on board with sort of like giving a series the breadth and the freedom to be sort of like spread out among different things. So like, no, we'll take a book and make it a TV show with a movie star, and then we'll make an animated show, and then there's already a video game, and we're okay because we're growing this is a more sustainable sort of like inclusive art environment, and everybody gets a piece of it, so that you get everybody, and that's exactly why more people watched it than watched The Mandalorian.
I mean, hell, that's why I watched The Witcher, because, like, I love Witcher 3 and the fact that... So, at first when I saw that, like, okay, Netflix like, it's becoming a Netflix live-action series. We all know how, like, live-action adaptations come. I'm like,
Sweat.
oh, God, sweat,
Sweats.
drip. But then when I actually saw it, I was like, oh, my God, this is amazing. And I respect Netflix that they're like, no, we can actually make pretty good adaptations and then even turn into an anime. That's like, that opens up so many doors of opportunities to do, like, yeah, we can make more animes from book series, from video games, and also kind of clear their name, saying that, hey, our Netflix adaptations aren't all that bad, guys.
It's true.
Just saying.
Again, I nobody's been more negative than me about the idea of Netflix buying anime,
Right?
Because I mean, like, just like my quick criticism here is Netflix is a wide audience streaming platform with a ton of data. They buy a bunch of anime, they ship it over here, they decide what anime gets made based on their algorithms for streaming to a wide Western audience, and then they're paying ridiculous sums of money for like old anime properties, getting other studios like Verve, Crunchyroll, Funimation from being able to stream those. I'm always worried about that creativity being lost, because I think what makes anime so great is its creative diversity of coming from a place that's maybe not making media that's maybe not meant for a Western audience.
Yeah.
But this is earning back a lot of credit with me.
Yeah.
Of it being like, hey, we can actually encourage people to be creative.
Yeah.
That's the best part about Netflix. They're not Disney. They have to pay some bills. You
Yeah.
know, they got a lot of money, and we give them money because they deserve it. I mean, they stream a lot of great content, but they're not so bloated and corporate. I mean, they're definitely a corporate entity, and they do some dumb stuff, but like they're not so like whatever. Let's just make another one.
Because
like,
they're new, they have just as much opportunity to do things correctly
Exactly, yeah.
as they do to do things poorly, for
Yeah.
sure.
exactly. So there's a good range there.
So what do you guys think is going to be in the animated series? Possible.
I'll let you guys go first, because I have played the video games and read one of the books.
I'm thinking. Okay, so as we were saying, like with the series, there wasn't a lot of budget, but with animation, hopefully we'll see a lot more monster-like
oh yeah.
fights
I
and
think
stuff.
I
that'll
think
be
that's
really
the whole
cool.
reason to do an animated
Exactly.
series.
Like save a little money and be like, let's polish it up. Let's make it nice and pretty.
Yeah, I mean, even I can draw a griffin like faster than they can animate one.
CGI,
Like,
God.
absolutely, and it's less expensive. And I know there's been a lot of talk about the styles. Like, I have my own take on the style, as you can see. But
if it's not Berserk, I give up. I'm just kidding. I'm kidding.
yeah, all
kidding.
CGI. Yeah, that's what you want, right? No, I feel
Oh
like.
god, yeah, it's just Tengen Ashura, like all mocap. Like,
hey, it
but
can
that's
work.
the thing.
It
If
can
they
work.
like, I believe that they could make it work for
could,
sure.
yeah.
But yeah, there's a lot of like I'm excited for that and that's the best part, right? The internet is so primed. I'm excited for that like Sonic first trailer reveal
Oh, yeah.
of it, where
I
it's
can-
like they show the footage and then people are like,
Just
oh
like
my
no.
god,
Off
no.
to Twitter, like
Like
no.
that's me, and like Samurai Jack is great and everything, but I swear to God, if it comes out and they like try and do the Samurai Jack animation style with it,
flat.
it would just be
yes.
so bad. No, I hate that style.
Yeah, it's just
It
flat.
works for Samurai Jack, but like
Yeah, in the
it's
90s,
also
like-
just such a
What are you talking
such
about?
a
The 90s are coming
style.
back.
It's such a stylistic direction to go in that I think is very inflexible
Right.
to something like
I
that. But
feel-
anyway, whatever.
I
It'll
want-
probably go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, it's fun. We get heated when we talk about animation for sure. No, but I don't feel like it's gonna be crazy motion cap CGI. That's not really what it's about. When I look at the world of Witcher and I look at the fantasy world, I feel like we're gonna get a little bit of like these painterly backgrounds. We're gonna get some like fun line work. I'm interested to see if they get Henry Cavill to do the voice.
I would lose my
like, do
everlasting
you know
mind.
how many anime ovaries would explode?
Right here.
Like
Okay,
little
I
weeb
will-
girls would die.
I will
if
say.
People will watch the dub.
If Henry, exactly, it'll happen for the
I'm
first
going
time.
dub, guys. Okay, I will say, I think it was really cool. Like, huge clap to Netflix that they hired a guy. Not only Henry Cavill is gorgeous, but the fact that he's also a gamer, plays video games,
Yeah.
and has played The Witcher.
Quick.
That is
Yeah,
amazing.
that's a quick side note. You know, when he was going to be cast for Superman, he actually missed his casting call because he was playing World of Warcraft.
Hell yeah!
And he had to call like back Zack Snyder and be like, "Hey, I'm sorry, I missed your call, man. I was gaming." But like, it is really cool that he's invested. So that would be interesting to see if he's a voiceover.
I would totally,
But
totally.
also, you know, I feel I'd be really game, and I would give a big clap if they chose somebody else to do the voice acting and they had their take on it.
I think the big thing that would galvanize the most fans would be if they had the video game voice actor do him. That would be the huge, I think,
Oh,
like
Lord.
That's a
Oh,
good-
Lord.
that's a
Val, I
good-
know-
that'd
I
be
know that
that'd be
was
the way to
next
bring
couple
him
ago.
into the Netflix like fold,
Oh my
right?
God.
Like,
And you see, that's
Yeah.
the interesting thing, right? So it's the discussion of like Netflix is creating a range of opportunities among
True.
the community,
Right.
and if they create another opportunity for somebody who was the voice actor for the games, that would be interesting. And or even
again, I
if
think
they
all of
do
these
a
are
new
good,
one-
but
I'm
like,
serious.
there's no bad option here. We
So,
can
so
get a movie
Netflix, if
star.
you're watching or listening, hook us up. We got great ideas for you.
yeah,
Just
do a
saying.
I want all three, so we'll do Henry Cavill's voice. He'll do every third word.
I mean, every third world's just fucked.
No,
so-
I mean, I think the exciting thing beyond this is we had a cast of people in the live action season that we got. I think the other thing besides monsters they can introduce in the animation is they're going to introduce more of this cast of characters they have from the Witcher universe.
Because that's a big thing about The Witcher,
yeah,
right?
he references his like the Witcher sensei, the like oldest Witcher, Vesemir in the show a couple times, and Vesemir appears in the video game series as well.
Oh,
but
he's
I
got
could
a sensei.
yeah, but I could see that character being a character they never put in the live action, but they put in the animation a lot.
So he's like so mystical. And that's the thing, there's a lot of opportunities with these other characters and their sort of arcs. Like as I was watching the show, I felt very much a Game of Thrones vibe, right? I felt very much this is fantasy powerful drama, right? I'm glad that I got some nice juicy fight scenes here and there, but I understood that's not necessarily the main intrigue of a Netflix fantasy drama. I understand that. So I wasn't like disappointed when I didn't see as many sword fights as I wanted, right? That wasn't a problem. But with something like the animated version, I think we're going to be able to see little things like we're going to see a little bit of the training arc, like a little bit of character growth between this, like especially if The Witcher has a sensei and then like he's got this he's teaching someone else. That's a nice little like fun dynamic to go through a movie where like lessons are sort of learned, and that feels more like akin to the sort of like streamlined plot that you'd want from an animation.
Exactly.
Because with the thing about watching an animation that's different than watching a drama is you can't have the beautiful emotive quality that a movie star actor like Henry Cavill has, right?
Yeah,
You're not staring into his giant chin and losing yourself. You're watching the fun animation happen and you're like, "Oh, cool." So sometimes with animation you want a more like streamlined storyline. And I feel like there's some properties here. You also mentioned from your playthrough, I don't want to give too many spoilers, but there's a chance that like he goes dark or something?
Yeah, so in the video, it's not actually in the video games, but it's referenced a lot that there's this basically extra dimensional demonic horse riding group
Like there is,
that terrorizes the world. And Geralt for a time gets kidnapped by them, loses his memory, and like is a member of that crew for a while. And then like he gets out of it and like loses his memory again.
Yeah, and not to live on spoilers, I wanted to say that that's
the threat of the Wild Hunt was not explored in the TV show, and we know there's going to be some extra threat to the continent of
whatever
The Witcher in this animation.
And I just feel like that's a very like movie plot. Like, oh no, the main character, the sensei daddy, gets like controlled evilly and then has to be broken free. So it's one of those like power mechanic things where like this is the most powerful character in the series, and for this movie we're gonna take them away for a second, and then you have to win them back. Or maybe it's just a fun romp through a bunch of monster kills. I don't know.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a movie, so it's we know there's got to be
nightmare.
we know there's
Nightmare.
only what like 3, let's say, extended action sequences could be in it. Like so we know like we're choosing our battles on
Plot
like
battles.
There's probably gonna be a big baddie that we have an altercation with in the beginning and the end. Maybe there's a middle monster like B team we fight, but like.
You know,
there is an economy here that we have to appreciate, I guess.
I just, it's going to be so cliche, and every single experience ever does it, but they're going to start the show, and it's going to be them emerging from like a battle.
Oh yeah. Absolutely.
That's everything.
Have you not seen Enemy before?
They're literally just going to copy the start of the they're going to copy the start of the Witcher live action.
Yeah.
When he just comes out of the monster.
Well, okay. So my other thing is, after that happens, what I want it to do is, as much as Netflix is adverse to anime openings, I want it to roll into Toss a Coin to Your Witcher as an anime opening that is canonized on Netflix.
Valley of Plenty. It's a lot of
God.
It's a phenomenon.
No.
Hated that song.
No. Okay. I'll be fair. I hated the character.
You hate Jaskier?
I hate him.
But you're supposed to hate him.
But the song was catchy, and I'm like, this is a bop. I love it.
I would literally, I just bothered her with the song enough until she just turned around to it, and it's a powerful, fun little jingle.
Who hit that note though? Just saying.
No one said you didn't.
Just saying.
No, we all backed up for you. Okay, we gave you room.
Now on that, some of the things I really don't want to see in the Witcher Netflix. I do not want to see gratuitous amounts of
sex.
Of titties, I mean,
it's The Witcher.
First of all, if you're gonna show titties, the place that it is like, ooh, they showed a titty or like a butt is live action, right? Because it's like you see Henry Cavill's butt. I mean, that trends, like that does. It's done.
Yeah.
the animation, it's like what like
I don't
you
wanna see
really
animated
you really
butts
want
and
like
titties.
and Netflix itself. I mean, I think that'd be really rolling the dice to put any animated show with nudity
Yeah.
like
They're
not gonna do that.
as much of a phenomenon on that, just because
not
even on the
gonna do that.
chance that like this is a show that like kids can sit down and watch, even though it's the Witcher series, like
Oh, kids will watch it on Netflix.
but that's what I'm saying, and that's why like I really hope they think about that and they're like, let's make sure this is a movie that nobody gets
You see,
super upset
and
about.
The thing is, it's like you can do that sort of sensuality in animation.
You could do sexy, no problem.
Yes,
Yeah.
but you've gotta really like what they're doing with this. Clearly, like a week after the show's success, they're like, "All right, bang together a movie. This looks great." I mean, I love Netflix, but they're definitely a corporate entity, and that's definitely what they did.
Yeah.
They're like, "Yeah, great, let's do an animated
Yeah.
film." So they're not like sweating this. This isn't like This isn't their hill to die on. I'm definitely thinking they're going to consider it, but they're definitely not gonna. They haven't spent like 2 years making some beautiful, lovingly rendered wafu or like something.
Oh
you know
no,
what I
yeah,
mean?
yeah.
That's
I
not-
don't think we'll have like waifu bait or
yeah, I know,
anything.
there's not. I mean,
but
yeah,
yeah.
but that's a big part of the show, right?
There's
There's always
Castlevania,
banging.
Is
Bullshit.
yeah, strumpets. Yeah,
It's
you know.
And that's medieval thought, right? That's what that
But that said, I mean, another aspect I really loved of the show was Yen's whole plot. So seeing what they do with the sorceress characters,
Yes.
I really am interested to see what the character design for Triss looks like, because there's obviously a lot of controversy over in the game she's like this iconic redhead like character, and then they changed her look for the live action show, and I think there's good
yeah,
and
they
bad
changed
to
her
it.
look.
Yeah,
She's a curly haired
She's-
person of color, like
Oh, right.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
right, that was Triss.
Triss,
right.
yeah.
I'm not familiar with the
I
games.
really
But I have recognized that character.
exactly, and I would really hope that in the animation. Again, Netflix just has its thoughts in a row enough to be like, make it look like the live action
Yeah.
show.
That
Let's
that
be
would
consistent
very
here. Like
smart. Yeah, not to walk back on that.
Because if they falter, then it's like, okay, you
There's
guys don't know
a
what
lot
the
of-
fuck you're
Yeah.
doing. Yeah.
I love that character a lot because her and The Witcher just, I mean, Henry Cavill stands next to someone and there's sexual tension. I mean, that
Yeah.
just happens. Like, there was sexual tension when he locked the door and he was looking at that king. Like,
Yeah.
it just happens.
Yeah.
He's Henry Cavill. But I feel like the tension between them was a little bit more, like, respectable. Like, they're both like, no, we have a working relationship. At least what I thought.
Right,
I'm
yeah.
sure they bang in the game.
Oh,
I don't
yeah.
know. Like, that's the game,
not
right?
yet.
That's what happens. But like, I liked at least this like vignette of them.
But that's the thing, and they can do the like sexual things like that where like there's tension, or like I mean. The biggest check mark off the box for Geralt is show a shot of him in the tub, and the shot is from between his legs. Like easy, not super
Yes.
sleazy, like easy to just do. Like bang.
I'm telling you, Netflix.
Wham,
Wham
bam, thank you,
right
ma'am.
Here.
Like-
Oh, those souls. Oh boy.
Oh, man.
But yeah, it's
So a lot of we're definitely very excited about the possibilities this has and what it'll open up. And do we know when this comes out or?
they say it's going to be in between the two seasons, so like that would mean like summer, like
Oh,
yeah,
which
yeah.
because
is
the new
which
season
is
is coming
soon.
out this year.
Yeah.
Really? God, they are just steamrolling it.
Exactly. Like
Also
so
going to that Witcher. Just saying.
and like if the animation does well, like they'll already I guess be in production on season 2, but what that means about how quickly season 3 or even like a second movie would
Right.
come out,
True.
like
Right.
it's tough to say cuz I mean, they've put so there is another video game movie that like it's the only thing I can ever think to compare this like idea of a Witcher movie to is for Dragon Age Inquisition.
Oh yeah.
Which is a very popular game. There's a bad like movie length animation they did for it.
no.
It's horrible.
Why is it bad?
The storytelling's bad, the animation's
Not enough
bad.
dragons?
no.
There's like a female character that's really badass in the game that they just turn into like damsel in distress, like sucks.
Damn
Like
it. Oh, no.
but it was done by like the Dragon Age group, right? Like, it wasn't like Netflix coming down and be like, hey, let's make something that's not only like
Good.
attached to our game and a marketing concept, but is also
Listen.
marketable as a streamable
Yeah, and listen,
thing.
there's just don't knock down markability. It's like, listen, if people are like, oh well, Netflix is producing like bathwater content. That's better than dirt. Like, I think
It's
that
true.
that's-
I-
and that's
yeah.
important to be like. Sometimes even a corporate entity can be like, "Oh no, we can get this up to a C at least." and, like, that
marketability is
passes.
it's on
That
the skill
passes.
tree, right? Like
Right.
we always want it on the skill tree. I just again I always want it to be in a balanced part of the
Right.
the like equation,
It
but
shouldn't be the
but
only
it is
factor.
important
It
Yeah,
for
is,
sure.
and that can help
Important.
because then you get something like this Dragon Age movie, which is apparently complete horse.
Yeah, and you've never heard of it because it's garbage,
exactly.
which is what I don't want to happen to. Like, I don't want The Witcher animated series to be the one that like, yeah, nobody watched it, nobody talks about it because it's the.
Yeah,
I
the
wanted-
success from the series. It's
Yeah.
like, yeah,
I want it to be-
I don't want it to torpedo the live
Exactly.
action.
Yeah.
And I don't want it to be like people see it and then they're like, oh, well, they animated it and ruined it, so let's wait for the live action version. And
Yeah.
they're sour about it, and then the fanfare has to start all over again when the
Exactly.
second season comes out. So it's like this isn't. I think Netflix is starting to understand, and that's why we love anime and manga so much, is because they speed things up a lot. There's this injection. They know that content is king, and you have to keep producing stuff. And like there is a balance between quality and release schedule, but people are addicted to volume. If you give them what they want consistently, they're happy. And Netflix being like, okay, so this really popular series came out at the start of the year. We've got it queued in for another season at the end of the year. I mean, it's only like 6 episodes, right? I mean, these aren't like
it's
so.
short.
They're like, okay, so we're balancing ourselves. We're not overextending ourselves. We're not making a giant ass season. We're not spending a ton of money, and then we got an animation in the summer. So hopefully they understand that what this is literally a stimulus. Like you just gotta keep people
Yeah,
clapping.
keep the wheels greased.
So
like
do,
yeah.
do the opening with the toss a coin to
Yeah.
your Witcher.
Yeah.
Like have some fun, kill some monsters. Like we're excited for this to be just
A fun.
just a lot of
fun
fun,
time.
no drama, like, and hopefully avoids the pitfalls that sometimes these things.
Yeah, and
fall
I mean,
into.
Netflix has done nothing but learn. I mean, nobody learns a bigger lesson than what happened with them on House of Cards. Nobody learns a bigger lesson than what happened with them on Voltron. I mean,
yeah.
that they're
about a nosedive.
even doing Castlevania season 1 to season 2. They learned some lessons there.
Season 3 is coming out
Yeah,
soon.
they're in a better place to make a better series than ever before, and I am excited. I think we're all
super
excited.
Stoked.
Let us know if you guys are excited and what your predictions are for the series. Do you think it'll have a Toss a Coin to Your Witcher opening? Let us know in the comments below. Don't forget to like and subscribe. If you're a podcast person, remember you can always listen in the car or on the go by going to your podcast platform of choice and searching for Clash KO. We'll catch you next time.
내 무대가 이 야미